Hey now, if you've seen some of my charcuterie videos, you know that I'm a fan of playing around with pork loin. Got some today. I'm also a big fan of Capicola, and when I can't get my hands on copa muscle, which is a little bit pricey and kind of rare where I live, I make a pork loin version of it, which is less expensive, easy to find, pretty easy to make, and delicious. Now, I usually use this hot pepper paste in order to make that capicola, the pork loin capicola. But today I've got some ground Calabrian Chile powder here that I'm going to use, and I'm super excited to see what the difference is between this and that pepper paste. So come along for the ride and let's see how it turns out. So it's time to mix up the cure. I've got the pork loin split, cleaned up, it's cut in half, and I've got a weight on it. So I'm going to be doing my cure all by weight. So I'm starting off here. This is that ground pepper here, and I've got 1.25% of that. To that I'm going to be adding 0.25% of cure number 2, or Prague Powder number 2. It is our longer acting cure. I've got 3% kosher salt, that's going in here as well. I've got some red chili flakes, just some crushed red pepper flakes here, and that is 0.25% as well, just because I want to have a little bit of heat to this here, just in case that original ground pepper, the Calabrian peppers, don't quite get me there. And then also because I'm not using the pepper paste, and those peppers will have some inherent sugar with them, I'm going with 1% just white sugar here, and I'm going to add that just to kind of help balance things out a little bit. So I'm just going to give this a really quick mix, and then get my meat tub ready with my pork loin in it. And we can go ahead and get this all over that pork loin. I really like mixing in these meat tubs because it sort of catches any of the splash off that might occur from getting this cure onto here. And I do like to go ahead and sprinkle it on like this. It kind of helps get a nice original distribution of this cure and all of the seasonings and spices and everything onto the meat itself. You can see that I'm getting a bunch of the cure just into the meat tub, which is totally fine, because once I've got this in my vacuum bag, I'm going to get the rest of this into the bag along with the meat. But there we go, nice initial coating. So let's get this into a vacuum bag.
Hello.
Okay, I've got my adorable 7-year-old here for my second set of hands for this next part of the operation, which, well, I guess we'll see how that goes. So I have my vacuum bag prepared already. I'm going to just try and slide this carefully, nice, into here. Now, I did say that I have all of these sort of remaining spices kicking around in here. I'm just going to totally block the view of the camera with my bin and pop them into the bag. Wow, my super lovely assistant is doing a very solid job. Okay, then I'm just going to reach into the bag here, kind of kick those spices all around a little bit. That'll be easy to do probably off camera once I got my food saver unit here. But we'll do that and then we'll vacuum seal it. I went ahead and just sort of shimmied a good amount of the remaining cure and stuff around here. Is it 100% perfectly evenly distributed? No. Does that matter? No. And I do like to double seal these, so I'm going to try to tuck this in nice and far. And by vacuum sealing it, it's going to help prevent any of this cure maybe leaking out. In the past, I have used Ziploc bags occasionally and stuff. The problem there is that every now and then I find that there might be a slight leak. So I've got enough room here that once this cools down, I can go ahead and give it a second seal. Then lastly, I'm just going to write the product and the date on here. This is going to have, I would say, at least a month. I might go, sometimes I'll go as long as 6 weeks. I just want to have maximum penetration of all of this flavor into the meat. Fortunately, since I'm using this sort of equalization method of salting and curing, I'm not worried about getting too much salt into here because it's the exact amount that I want. And you can't really over-cure with time. So it's just a matter of how long do I want to let this sit and let all of, oh my goodness, I'm excited here. Let all of this delicious flavor get into that pork. After just about 7 weeks, just due to life and stuff, we are ready to take this Capicola and get it out of the cure. Just trim this open, slide it on out. Woo! And it is time to rinse all of this delightful stuff off of here.
All right, where's your slow-mo button?
Ooh, yeah, we need that, right? Gives me a little rub down. Ooh. Okay, just using some cold tap water here, actually. Trying to get most of these little chili flakes off. Clean off all this cure. Any of that liquid that came out. It's definitely taken on some color here. All orangey. All right, let's rinse this out. And a little secondary rinse, then we will pat it dry. Okay, so this meat here is going to be wrapped in a pasted hog skin, which will work nicely just to help slow down any of that weight loss to the right speed. We're giving it a little spritz down here with some potassium sorbate, just to help trying. We're almost out in this spray bottle, and that will just help prevent any sort of undesirable mold growth underneath this casing while it's dry aging. We don't want to have to mess around and remove that during. And just using some 1/2-inch hog rings here, we're going to crimp these edges, or these ends, just so that when we slide it into the netting, it doesn't, well, I don't want to jinx it, but it shouldn't come sliding off or anything like that, just with the friction. And once again, our favorite part of this process, the tube sock. The jokes write themselves.
Oh, do they ever?
Yeah. I'm gonna slide this in here, and this netting is going to help this meat just keep its shape and actually kind of round it out just a little bit, compressing it and moving with it as it loses weight, which would be beautiful. And same thing here now with the hog rings, just to close it up, so that as it's hanging, it doesn't want to slide right out. Ooh, get that right in the center. Give it some little twisties. Here we are. Awesome. Now, just using the pricker here, which was sitting in some vinegar, I'm going to go ahead and poke some holes so that we can, again, reduce possibility for air pockets and some undesirable mold growth on the inside. We're going to snag the scissors and cut off any sort of major excess. I like to leave a couple of inches or so of this netting. So now we're just going to go ahead and get a pre-hang weight on this Capicola. Okay, so on here we have labeled the product, our original weight, the date that we've done this, and our target weight here as well. So let's get it into the curing chamber, which is set at 53 Fahrenheit and 72 degrees relative humidity. Get it hanging just like so. Oh, little Capicola's hit 35% weight loss. Time to get it out of the curing chamber. This next phase here is just a really quick, nice and easy step. I'm cutting off the netting here, and I'm going to be vacuum sealing it for at least a month, and the intention behind this is just to let everything equalize. I'm not going to bother removing the casing that I put onto here. It's got a little bit of nice white mold on there. That's all good. I'm just going to be tossing it into this Food Saver bag, and I'm going to be sealing this with my Food Saver V3820. This is an older Food Saver, but I really like this vertical style of vacuum sealer. I find they tend to last a little bit better and work a little bit longer than the horizontal ones. That's just my experience over the last 20-ish years using these. So the last part here is just to write down the product and the date so that I know easily when this is ready to break into and slice. So into the fridge we go. I've been a very patient boy. It's been a couple of months here, which is probably just a little bit longer than I needed for equalizing. It's time to slice in and give this a taste. Let's slice into this vacuum bag. pull that out. Now, of course, I still have that original pasted hog skin on here, so I'm going to remove that. It's right tight on there just because of the vacuum. Don't even need my knife though. Look at that there, ready to slice into. Let's cut her in half so we can get a good look. Oh, wow. Look at that marbling in there. That's beautiful for this loin. Awesome. Let's have a taste. All right. I'm going to start slicing this off here on my Avanco meat slicer. And take a look at that there. Ooh, nice and thin. Ooh, look at that. So thin. Having the slicer is amazing. All right, taste test time. Oh, that is absolutely astounding. I love it. Those Calabrian Chile peppers in there. And getting just a little bit, just the tiniest bit of heat and flavor from those crushed red chilies as well. I like the balance that it struck between the little bit of sweetness of that sugar and then the saltiness of, well, the salt in there. Fantastic. It's beautiful, it's delicate, and yet it has lots of flavor. Really, really lucked out with that pork loin and the fact that it had that fat running through there like that. It just melts in your mouth when you eat it, especially when it's sliced so thinly. So huge win, very happy. Give it a whirl if you can, and until next time, keep her at 11.